Hey, what is going on, guys? Monstep here, and I am finally back after more than a year. I couldn't make any videos when I lost my PC, and the only laptop I had was my sister's shitty laptop, but at least I could keep my SoundCloud updated, and I have few songs on it if you want to check it out, link in the description. So for the quick story, I didn't buy a new PC. My uncle gave me his old PC for free because he bought an iMac. But the worst thing is he was about to throw his old PC away. But lucky for me, he remembered that I needed one. So yeah, in today's video, I will show you all the shortcuts I learned for now. I think it has been a little bit more than 8 years. I'm working on FL Studio, and I'm also going to give you some tricks and tips. So let's start. So let's begin with the F keys. So pretty much all the F keys you have above of your keyboard, open up or close up something, except for F12 it will close everything. So F1 will open the guide manual. So instead of searching directly on Google or YouTube, you can start from here. You even have a search bar. So let's say I'm searching for compression. So I have Maximus tutorials and tips, controls and all that stuff. So it's like a tutorial, but of course only on FL Studio stock plugins. So you can't find anything on Serum or about external VSTs. But yeah, by the way, on FL20 it open up on your internet browser. I don't know why they did that, but in FL12 and every older version it should open up with FL Studio Windows. But yeah, it's a really great thing. And now F2, I use it to rename it. As you can see, you can pretty much rename everything you can name. So like the pattern name, I can name it just by pressing F2. Same if you have some VST or samples, you can press F2 to rename them. It also works for the mixer channels, as you can see. And by the way, if you hit F2 many times, it will randomly change the color. So really useful if you want to keep your project organized. But it doesn't work for the track on the playlist. As you can see, you have to right click on it and rename it, pressing F2 many times. And so yeah, the next one is F3. So it will open the tools, as you can see, and also more options. So this is the same options you have here. It also works for the piano roll. So yeah, it's really useful if you don't want to waste your time doing that every time. Just a little thing, but anyways, F4 to open a new pattern. So as you can see, you can still rename it and also change the color by hitting F2 again. F5 to close or open the playlist, like so. F6 for the pattern. F7 for the piano roll. F8 will be for the plugin picker, but if you're not on FL12 and FL20, you should open up the browser section here, the browser window. If you want to open up the plugin picker, you have to hold Alt plus F8. But for us, it's for the users who are working with FL12 and 20 with open the browser section. The next one is F9 to open up the channel, the mixer. F10 for the options. F11 for the project info, and as I said earlier, F12 to close everything, but it doesn't close the pattern. I don't know why, but I think it closes also the plugins. Yep, it closes everything except for the pattern. So enough with the F keys. Now let's talk about the basic shortcuts. So I think everyone knows Control C to copy, Control V to paste, Control Z to undo, Control Alt plus Z to undo many times in a row, Control A to make a selection, and if I have something here, Control A. Okay, I can also duplicate the pattern and make a selection of the whole thing. Control A, Control Enter if you want to deselect everything. What else? Control X to cut, so you can still copy it. And also, yeah, to make a selection like that, you can hold Control plus left click and drag your mouse over the stuff you want to select. Or you can also select the whole track by holding Control plus left click on the track that you want to select. Or you can even select many tracks in a row like that by holding your left click. It also works for the piano roll. So if I oops, too loud for my ears. So if I have some notes, I can just Control left click and copy them. So now the next shortcut that I want to show you is Control plus B. So Control B will copy and paste directly by one shortcut. And so yeah, you can make a selection, Control B, and it will paste it right next to your last selection. But side note, if you have something like isn't on the grid like so, and you make a selection, copy it by hitting Control plus B, as you can see, it pastes it right next to it. I mean, it's not on right here on the second bar, so it can be really annoying, especially when you have some samples, because pretty much all the samples aren't really on the grid. So let's take one, I don't know. So let's take an example here. So as you can see, it's not even on the beat right here. It's just between. And if you copy it, it's so annoying, and especially when you have a full project, it looks like it's okay, it's kinda synchronized, but it's not. So you have to delete everything, resize everything, and copy and paste everything again. So I have two ways to fix that. The first one will be, of course, by zoom in. By the way, another shortcut, if you want to zoom in quickly, you can hold Control plus right click. So drag your right click where you want to zoom, and if you want to zoom out completely, just hit Control plus 1 right click like that. So yeah, I was saying the first way will be to increase the length of the samples or the pattern like that, and you can copy and paste it so it's on the grid right now. But if you want another way, it's actually to take a new pattern. So imagine this one has something on it, maybe a chord progression, I don't know. And yeah, just open up a new one by hitting F4, and you can place, for example, one here, increase the length, copy the whole thing, and delete the pattern. So yeah, pretty basic and quick. The next thing, always to copy and paste. You can hold shift and left click on everything you want to copy. You are more precise by doing that. Same, you can make a selection, hold shift and drag out. Also work for the piano roll. Selection, shift, and even the control B work. So now the next shortcuts are real basic. So Control O to open a project that you have saved. You can hit Control plus N, but here it asks me if I want to save it. I don't want it. You can hit Control plus M for the metronome, Shift M to switch to the stretch mode, and we're going to talk about that later. Hey, I'm back. So I needed a break. Too much noises in my house earlier. So yeah, let's continue with backspace. So backspace it used to change the snap of the grid. So if you see here, I'm online. Now if I hit backspace, it changed to none. So you can be much precise with it. And I use it a lot for my chords. So let's put a piano here and make some chords. So if I want to turn these chords into something more humans, I can hit the backspace and do some strums like so. It doesn't sound right, but who cares? And then what I can do next is F3, cut the notes here, delete. But I know you can also use the strum machine from FL Studio by hitting Alt plus S, but I'm going to talk about that later. Next, after the backspace, we have Control T to add a marker, and you can rename it. Or hit Control T again to disable the marker. Of course, it works only if you have your timeline on the marker. The next thing is the next shortcut is a shift plus a row. So you can use it to move your patterns or samples when you're on the playlist, like so. And it also works for the piano roll. You move it, you move the notes by semitones, but if you want to move them by octave, you need to hold Control plus the arrows, like so. And yeah, you can also move by side by holding Shift and right arrow or left arrow. Now for the piano roll, you have if you click here on the branch, I forgot the word for this in English. You have the shortcuts right next to the options, but I usually use the strum, which is Alt S. So I was talking about that earlier. So the strums, you can use it to make your chords more realistic, human, to humanize your chords. So you have the sensitivity here. So if you go down, the upper note will be on the start and the other ones will be in offbeat. You have the velocity knob here. You can also change the tension between the velocity or the sensitivity. And I don't use the end, but you still have it if you want. Or you can just reset everything. The next one is the quantize. So imagine I have something like that. Let's hold Alt plus Q. And then let's put the start time all the way up, the duration all the way up, and I can move by myself to place them correctly. And we have the Alt A, which is the arpeggiator. So you have a few options here, so you can try by yourself to see how it sounds like. And finally, the last shortcuts that I use a lot, I mean not a lot but sometimes, it's Control M to open up the MIDI, to load some MIDI. Now as you can see I only have one. So yeah, that was really quick for the piano roll, but you can use the shortcuts that we have seen before on the playlist, and some of them works perfectly with the piano roll. So now let's move on to the mixer. So for the mixer, I think everyone knows that, but you can move your VST, arrange your VST. I'm just going to load some random VSTs. So if I hold Shift plus scroll the wheel of my mouse, I can move, change the position of my VSTs. And what else? Oh yeah, you can also move the channels. So if, imagine I have something here, okay, and I want this one to be somewhere around here, I can hold Shift and scroll with my wheel again, and maybe rearrange everything. And if you have route those channels into another channels, like for example this one, if I route it here and move it, it doesn't affect the routing. So you can select multiple channels if you hold Control plus drag your left click, and then you can route all the selection into same channel by holding Control plus left click on those arrows. So I want them to be routed by this one. So as you can see here, you can also rename some channels by holding Shift and left click, and of course pressing F2 to change the color. You can also mute, not mute but solo the channels by hitting S, like so, and unmute to press S again to unmute. I already say that, but you don't really need to make a selection to directly route a channel. You can select one and then just hold Control plus left click. It worked perfectly. Okay, I'm back again. Sorry if you can hear the noise behind me, and also change my audio settings because that was so freaking heavy, my keyboard and my mouse click. But yeah, to continue with the shortcuts, you can zoom in like so by holding Control plus scroll your wheel, or you can hold Alt and scroll again your wheel to change the size of the clip. You can hold Alt and click on your mouse on your wheel, sorry, to zoom in and out, and it works also for the control. So Control plus click on your wheel to change the size of the clip. Now for the browser section. So sometimes you have so much folders and yeah, it just take all over the place. So what you can do to close all the folders, you can hold Control plus up arrow, and that's it. And I think this is the only shortcut that I use for the browser. Now let's move on the pattern. So for the pattern, you can create some groups, and it will appear here. So let me load some random VST, like so. You can select them all by holding Shift and highlight the green thing here, and hold Alt plus G to create group. So I don't know, group maybe. So as I said, it will appear here. Really useful if you want to keep your project organized. But if you want to select different VSTs, you can hold Shift, and you don't really need to drag all the way down like that. You can just select what you want and create a group, or Control C, Control V, Control X to copy, paste, and cut. And yeah, you can also delete some selected VSTs or samples by going here, delete selected, or just hit Alt plus delete. So to continue with the pattern, you can create some racks. So I don't know if you ever tried Ableton, but on Ableton you can load some racks. So to do that on FL Studio, so you can pretty much load everything you want. I'm just loading some random stuff again. You can even load Serum or Massive or any plugins you want. And let's load a layer. Okay, layer. Open it. Now I can select everything I want to put into the layer, like that, and click on Set Children. If I play a note on the layer, it will play the whole children like this. But what you can do from here, it's load the layer state. So you go here, save layer as, and you save it or rename it. And if you go to channel preset, which is here, it should be directly below the last thing here, and you can load it directly on the pattern, and all your children will be here. So it's really useful and quick to do. What I can show you next is tricks and tips for FL Studio. So let's start with the mixer. So let's change this thing, and imagine I have something here. Okay, I'm just going to change the color, and on those three channels I want to have the same automation. So I will just take for example the fruity filter. I'm going to create an automation here, and instead of having three different automation like this, you can link the other filters in only one automations. So let me show you. So as you can see, I have three different filters. This automation is the automation for the first fruity filter. Okay, I can work on it. And if I hit play, okay, only the first one is working, right? So what I can do from there, it's right clicking on the knobs that you want to automate, go to link to controller, and change search for your automations that you want. So I only have one, and make sure this option is not enabled, otherwise it won't work. and press accept. Same for the other knobs, the other filter. And now if I hit play, all the three knobs have been linked to only one automations, and that's pretty useful if you have a full project. You can only use one automations. Or the other way, it's to group up your channels into only one by route them. So let me show you. I'm going to select them all and route them all on this channel, put a filter, and automate the cutoff, and it will be applied on all the group. I mean, logically. But what if you can't create an automations? It happened a lot for external plugins. So let me load, for example, Serum. Okay, if I right click here, for example, I can't create any automations. But what you need to do is just to tweak a little bit the knob that you want. And you have this icon here, the multi-link controller. You can right click on it and create automations. So if I zoom in, as you can see here, it says Serum A wrap mode. And if you don't have this icon, you can go to tools, last tweaked, create automations, and you have the same options, so link to controller and all that stuff. So yeah, as you can see. So I was talking about the stretch mode the last night, which was a couple minutes ago for you. So let me bring a random samples. So this is the snail and a big gigantic remix stem. So I'm actually working on it. So yeah, the stretch mode will allow you to resize every samples. As you can see here, I can reduce the length of the samples or increase the length, and I use it also to synchronize my acapellas to any BPM that I want. So if I hit play, so the only problem with that is because I reduce the length of it, the pitch has changed. But you can fix that by double click on this, so you have this panel, and you can change the mode to stretch. I wish I knew that when I start FL Studio, because it's just so freaking useful. So now if I hit play, it kept the original pitch, and even if I increase it, and yeah, as I said, it's really useful, and you can easily synchronize your acapellas like that. So now the next trick is, let me actually load, I don't know, maybe this snare. Sometimes when you're working on a project, you really need to know what is the key route to your samples. So you can open them on a new channel. Okay, open them and hold Ctrl+E to load it into Edison. Then you can click here, go to region, detect pitch regions, and it shows you the key root of the root key of the samples. So this snare it's on E, so I can go ahead and change it to E. So right click on E or any other notes. So now it's perfectly, the root key has changed to C, and it will fit with my project. So by the way, if I hit a higher note, as you can hear, it's so freaking fast, and if I hit a lower note, it also changed the stretch of the samples, so it's much longer. So you can fix that by changing to the mode to stretch. It keeps the same length, and you can keep changing the pitch of it. So now for the AO8, so let me grab mine. Okay, so I create a Mumaton sample pack because I have a new SoundCloud channel. We'll leave it in the description if you're interested. So yeah, for the AO8, sometimes it continue while you're playing a note, and if you want to fix that, of course you can change the stretch. So you have the cut itself, so every next note it will cut the last one. So imagine I have something here, it's not on each other like this, you know, but sometimes it doesn't work for some reason. What you can do to fix that is to go to envelope, enable the envelope, zero attack, 100% hold, and everything down. So now if I hit one time, if it only play when I hit the key, not like this. I'm not holding it. And I also use this trick for my vocal chopping. So yeah, really useful. So I was editing the video and I forget to talk about the smart disable. So smart disable obviously will automatically turn off every VST that you aren't using. And yeah, it's really useful to give space to your CPU. So here I have 3 serum, and imagine 3 of them have a bunch of voices and they are really heavy. So what I can do is go to tools, macros, switch smart disable for all plugins, and now if I play this one, the other one that I'm not playing are turned off, like automatically. You also have the smart disable when you go into this error, smart disable, and it works also for the mixer for your VSTs. So yeah, I think I'm done. As I said earlier, I maybe forget some of the shortcuts or tips and tricks that I want to share you. But right now, yeah, I think I'm really done. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Leave a like, comments, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, of course, leave a comments and I will try to help you if I can. So yeah, check out my SoundCloud channels, both of them. I will leave the link down below. And see you into the next one. Peace.